So really excited to give you guys a very base level, fundamental look at some of the switches that we do here, our switch cross, our switch hook, setting things up from southpaw, talking about some offense, talking about some defense, and talking about some MMA fit-ins as well. All right, so I just want to spend some time breaking down our switches, our switch cross, our switch hook, our switch it, times where we're going to switch our stance, how we're going to switch our stance, and some different scenarios. So with the switch, what I'm basically doing is going from one stance to my opposite stance. I'm going to show most of that ortho to southpaw because that's going to be what 70% of us are going to be dealing with. Okay, so I'm in my orthodox stance. I'm going to switch. When I switch, I want to make sure that I'm taking two separate steps. So I want to try to avoid this hop motion, and I want to make sure that I'm taking two separate steps. My lead foot's going to be stepping back. My rear foot's going to be stepping forward, and I'm just going to do that with a little momentum and a little speed. If I'm using it in the confines of MMA, my stance is probably going to be a little bit wider, a little bit lower, and I'm going to be looking to drive off of this lead foot. If I'm using it in the context of Muay Thai, my stance is going to be a little taller, a little higher, and I might be looking to shuffle a little bit as I set up one of my switch kicks, but either way. And then think about what we're accomplishing here is we're going from our orthodox stance to our southpaw stance and what that's going to set up for us. So as I change my stance, I'm outside of the lead shoulder, which automatically gives me a really nice angle for my cross and a really nice angle for my left kick. So as we're switching, just thinking that you're becoming a southpaw, now you're a southpaw, where would you want to attack, right? Obviously we know the rear hand is really effective and the rear round kick is really effective. I can start using these in the combinations as well. So I can start with a switch cross hook. I'm using that footwork for the switch. I'm in my southpaw stance, I throw my cross, and then I finish with my hook. So there's our switch cross hook. I can add a left kick to that. We know that the left kick is great from southpaw. So I go switch cross hook, and then I finish with my round kick. I already have a really great angle outside of Brandon's lead shoulder. That's gonna set me up really well for that rear round kick. So we got our switch cross, our switch hook. We combine those together with a left kick. We call that the switch it, okay? So when I'm switching, again, I can be kind of moving forward, more MMA style, where I'm driving off the lead foot. I can be stationary, more Muay Thai style. I'm a little bit taller. I'm staying a little bit longer distance. I can also change the angles laterally. As I switch, I can get outside of Brandon's lead shoulder. I then can also get outside the lead shoulder, but I can kind of stay centered and then re-step back inside of his rear shoulder, okay? So we're gonna play with some of that right now. I have my switch 2, which is me switching, throwing my cross. Now I'm gonna step forward into my step cross. I can do that on an angle outside of Brandon's lead shoulder. I can do that on an angle that's outside of his rear shoulder. Okay, again, we are playing the game of switching our stance, going from ortho to southpaw, and now back to ortho. Just like I was talking about previously, where my southpaw stance is really gonna do a great job of setting up my rear round kick, this body kick, which is attacking the liver. I know if I'm in a closed stance, ortho to ortho, that I can do a really great job of attacking the low kick with my rear leg. So I can go switch cross, and just like I was doing before, stepping forward into my step cross, I can step forward and just attack the rear round kick. I can do the same angle as well. I can get outside of Brandon's lead shoulder, make sure I got a great angle for the IT band or the calf. I can get outside Brandon's rear shoulder, step really big, come down straight down the quad. So there's a good rundown of our switch series right there. Our switch cross hook, the switch it, adding those switch cross hooks into a rear round kick, and then talking about some angles, talking about moving forward with our switch 2 and with our switch step low. I can use the switch also defensively. So we talked about a bunch of angles that's gonna set up our offense, but I can also use the switch defensively as well. I can use it to counter and evade Brandon's boxing, and I can use it to counter and evade the low kick. When Brandon throws this jab, I can switch to get outside of the jab. I can use that just defensively to create a new angle into my southpaw stance. I can even same time counter the jab with an alley cross as I'm getting outside. Also really like it as an inside low kick counter. Brandon's setting up in a good inside low kick and he's landed it a couple times. I can have him go for it and then I kind of switch away from it, allowing that leg to just whiff. like the switch cross hook counter there as I'm making the inside low kick miss. So we got some offense as we're switching our stance. We've talked about a bunch of that. The leg, the body, the head, the boxing, the kicks. Now we can also use it defensively to get away from the jab and get away from that inside low kick. For more content, make sure you like and subscribe these videos. We're gonna be posting out a lot more coming up. So we're just giving you guys a lot of great content to use in your own training.